Hello, my name is Jill Nitch, and this is my information for Module 16. I think it's important as an educational professional to use data to help target those kids that are struggling and to help know what standards they might be low in and to come up with some strategies to help them out with those standards. We at our school give the MAP test. We give that in the fall, the winter, and the spring. I know our English language arts teachers also use iStation as a supplemental tool to get kids on target. Our math department uses the Freckle, which is another kind of online tool that they use to try to get those kids on target. Just today we had an in-service, and so we went over data, and they really noticed from the winter to the spring a huge drop in our kids on the MAP test. And so that's kind of one thing that they're really struggling with as to why the kids dropped. Like some of the drops were major from a few of the kids, and I just saw the reading. I didn't really see the math to see if they had the same drop or not. So to me, the desired outcome would be to get those kids on grade level, or kids that aren't on grade level, for them to improve throughout the year. And that would be the desired outcome. I know our principal really stresses moving kids from the borderline kids. So if they're on the borderline, like especially state assessments of a 1 to a 2, that we try to get those kids up to a 2. So that would, I guess, be the goal, to improve state testing scores and then improve MAP test scores.
Okay. So with MAP testing, is that something you guys do? Is that like a K-12 thing?
Yes.
Okay, so K-12.
I do believe the grade school does it. I know the middle school and the high school does it, but I'm pretty sure the grade school does it too. We just started that. This year was really the first year we did MAP. We've done MAP testing 3 times. I think we may have done it last year once.
Okay. And so are teachers meeting every time that there's afterwards, like a MAP test happens, like to look at that data? Is there?
Especially at the middle school, we have it used to be called Deer Time, but we call it Go Time now, Greenback Opportunity. And I know one thing that the math and reading teachers were struggling with is using that data from MAP. And so that's one thing today that they all met at least 7-12 to kind of go over that data. So yeah, they do get that. And I know the English and math have met at least once or twice throughout the year to go over that data. So at least at the middle school, our English and math teachers get that time to sit down and go over the data.
Is that test sort of like a benchmark throughout the year?
Yes, I do believe so. Like I said, it's kind of new this year, so I'm sure it'll be totally different how they use it next year.
Right. Okay.
So are people in your building and in your district, are they, it sounds like they're struggling trying to figure out the data, but are they welcoming that use of having the data to drive their instruction?
I think they are. They just kind of, like I think Kelly talked about, they just don't know how to use the data yet. Yeah, I'm talking, I think it was for this class, one of our other assignments, I talked to my math and reading teacher, and that's what they said. They have the data, they just don't know how to effectively use it. So I guess that would be my question, would be how do I help my teachers effectively use that data in their classes?
And see, what do you know what is on like the map, like what Like, what are they? I know English and math, but like,
Mm-hmm.
what aspects of that are they? Are they doing reading levels? Are they doing?
No, it's standards based, I do believe.
Okay.
And then it's, from what I understand, it's progressive. So if like a kid, the more they get questions right, I think the harder the questions are, if that makes any sense. So it kind of like levels them out,
Okay.
from what I understand of it.
Okay. And then, so this testing program, do you know, does it offer, like the program we've started using this year, you can search for intervention groups for specific standards and the test as a whole, and then it can make up like homework and quizzes and things like that for those sorts of students. Do you know if this is capable of anything like that?
Think it's capable of giving them strategies, but I don't think it is for like homework and quizzes and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay, so you are looking for help on how to use the data that they get from that new test.
Right.
Okay.
Because we have that dedicated time in the schedule every day. They just, from talking to the teachers, they haven't used the data yet because they really don't know how. When they have to bring kids in, it's more bringing them in because they don't understand a certain standard versus they didn't score very well on the MAP test, if that makes any sense. So right now it seems like it's kind of more teacher-based versus data-based.
Gotcha. So teachers are using more of their old way of assessing this student needs help, okay, that kind of thing.
Right.
Gotcha. So maybe pairing that with like, okay, that with the data. So they're using that assessment data that they're coming up with themselves as a teacher. And then is that reflecting or showing in your MAP testing data? I mean, maybe that would be something that they could start with.
They could look at, yeah.
Here are the 5 groups that I meet with the most. Okay, does that reflect on
their MAP data?
What their MAP data? Like, what am I spending the most time on with these 5 students? And then I think that helps answer your question of making sure you're bringing those other ones up to grade level, because usually those bottom 5 might be under grade level in my thought process, maybe. So that could be something that you could suggest to those teachers saying, hey, you're meeting with these kids, is that reflecting what this MAP data is telling you? Or is that MAP data telling you even more stuff, like deeper? Like maybe it's showing even deeper deficits, like specific areas that could help with that. That could be something you could maybe see that.
I kind of already recommended this with Shelby too, but I really do like collaborating with my coworkers. That's just kind of when I get the best ideas, and it turns my brain on to think a little bit better when they start asking me more detailed questions than I think of on my own in my head. I don't love using my planning time all the time to talk about data and things like that, because there's always so much other stuff we can be working on. But when we do actually sit down, I walk away with a pretty good set of ideas for me to try in the classroom. So I do recommend that.
I would agree.
Okay, so I think 2 things I got out of it that I could go back and work on is talking to our principal about getting teachers more collaboration time so they can be talking with each other and coming up with different ideas, and then have those teachers really reflect and look back on the kids they pull for go time and what they work on with those kids and see if it meets up with the MAP testing data. And if it does, they need to be looking at some of those strategies the MAP test gives them. Would that be a good synopsis of it? I would think. It really just comes back to more collaboration time and we're looking at the data and talking about what each teacher's doing and what they would like to do in the future to help those kids to progress.